They've lied to you, disrespected you, and laughed, as if it's nothing, as if your silence makes it okay, as if your patience signals weakness. But deep down, you know the truth. They haven't changed. They're just used to you not standing your ground. You've long believed strength lies in forgiving, in being the bigger man, always rising above. You've embraced endless tolerance, thinking it's noble. But here's the Stoic truth. No one tells you mercy without consequences isn't compassion, it's surrender. Some people don't grow through kindness. They grow through boundaries, through facing the weight of their actions without accountability. They'll keep hurting you and others. This isn't about revenge, it's about clarity, boundaries, and dignity. In this video, we'll uncover 5 Stoic reasons to let others face the consequences of their choices without guilt, anger, or looking back. True peace doesn't come from fixing others. It comes from choosing yourself, standing firm in your values. They lie to your face, betray your trust, wound your spirit, then return with shallow apologies, forced smiles, and the audacity to ask, "Can we move on?" But here's the truth. Apologies after being caught aren't remorse, they're damage control. Genuine regret doesn't need prompting. It's shown through actions, not words. A man who truly regrets doesn't argue with your silence or rush to soothe his own guilt. He respects your boundaries, not seeing them as obstacles. He accepts the discomfort of accountability, knowing forgiveness isn't a free pass and regret doesn't erase consequences. Yet society pushes quick forgiveness, urging you to let go too soon. Social media, self-help gurus, and cultural voices chant, "Let go. Be the bigger man. Don't hold grudges." But Stoicism doesn't demand hatred, it demands clarity. It asks you to see the difference between inner peace and opening the door to those who haven't earned it through change. Let's be honest. Forgiving someone who shows no remorse, no reflection, no growth isn't healing. It's erasing yourself. Worse, every time you overlook the unforgivable, you teach them a dangerous lesson. They can hurt you again without cost. You're not just enabling them, you're undermining your own dignity. They're not cartoonish villains, but their behavior works for them. Why change if betrayal still gets them access? Manipulation earns sympathy, and apologies wipe the slate clean. They have no reason to grow. Forgiveness is noble. It frees you from resentment, but it doesn't mean welcoming back the unrepentant. Forgiveness releases you from bitterness, but it doesn't mean restoring a broken relationship. Rebuilding trust with someone unchanged is not healing, it's self-betrayal. When they say, "Why are you so cold? I apologized," it's a sign to remember. Broken trust isn't restored by words, but by consistent, proven change. Trust, once shattered, must be rebuilt brick by brick, or you accept the loss. The Stoic response is clear, calm, and unshakable. You lied. So I don't trust you. You disrespected me. So I need distance. You crossed a line. So I'm setting boundaries. You owe them no debate, no closure, just your peace. You don't enforce consequences to wound them. You do it to shield yourself from further harm. Let them call you heartless or dramatic. Let them accuse you of being unforgiving. That's fine. Only those who thrive on disrespecting you will feel stung by the boundaries you set. Judge them not by their apologies, but by their consistent actions. Words come cheap. Tears can be staged. An apology can be timed for maximum effect. But patterns never lie. It's not a single mistake that defines someone. It's the habits they refuse to break. No matter how many chances you've given. Think of that friend who forgets your birthday but expects gifts and attention on theirs. Or a sibling who mocks you with humiliating stories at every family gathering, then brushes it off. Relax. It's just a joke. Or a partner who promises change but repeatedly crosses the same line. Always armed with an excuse. Sound familiar? You forgive at first. Thinking they're stressed or didn't mean it. You tell yourself they're just going through a rough patch. But deep down, a quiet voice whispers, this isn't a one-off. This is who they choose to be. Time and again. The painful truth is, they're not careless, they're calculating. Just enough charm to win you back. Just enough guilt to keep you close. It's like standing in the rain, thinking it's a storm, only to look up and see someone holding a hose. Consider Evelyn, a kind-hearted widow in her 72nd, always sending handwritten thank you notes. Her daughters started visiting more after her husband's death, a blessing, she thought, until the subtle demands began. At first, it was help with groceries, doctor's appointments, daily calls. Evelyn felt grateful, but soon came hints of financial struggles, sacrifices made, then requests. Can you cover my phone bill? Can you lend your credit card? When Evelyn hesitated, the calls stopped. The visits grew cold. Then, days later, warmth returned as if nothing happened. This wasn't care, it was a cycle, a pattern. People like Evelyn, gentle and patient, rarely set boundaries. So the cycle persists, each turn carving deeper emotional wounds. But here's the turning point for her, and for you. When Evelyn started tracking every request, every shift in behavior, she saw the truth clearly. This wasn't a storm, it was a system. The same applies to your life. When you stop excusing their actions with emotion and start seeing the data of their behavior, confusion fades, and clarity emerges. Forgiving the same mistake repeatedly isn't strength, it's surrender. A Stoic never sacrifices peace for someone else's chaos. Marcus Aurelius said, "If someone shows me I'm wrong, I'll gladly change, for I seek truth." But you're not obligated to teach truth to those who refuse to see it. Your duty is to recognize truth when it repeats itself. Some people aren't sorry they're comfortable. They don't want your forgiveness. They want your silence, your access without effort. So, what do? Don't argue with their excuses. Don't debate their intentions. Listen to their actions. Those speak loudest. Patterns are your evidence, and your peace is non-negotiable. Setting boundaries isn't cruelty, it's clarity, courage, and self-respect. Yet, if you're used to keeping the peace, always yielding, always being the bigger man, saying no feels wrong, like you're the one betraying them, you'll question yourself. Am I too harsh? What if they're angry? What if I lose them? But here's the Stoic truth: if someone leaves because you set healthy boundaries, they were only staying because you didn't. Let that sink in. Their presence was conditional on your silence, not your strength. Why is setting boundaries so hard? It often starts early, maybe in a family where love came with strings, where saying no made you the villain, where boundaries were labeled selfish or cold. Now, protecting yourself feels like betraying others. But you're not betraying them, You're finally honoring yourself. Take James, a 42-year-old father of two, visiting his aging mother every Sunday out of duty and love. But each dinner, she'd criticize his appearance. Gained weight again. You looked better before marriage. Where's the old James? He'd laugh it off. But the joy of those visits faded. Eventually, James stood up mid-dinner and said, "Mom, I come here to spend time with you, not to be insulted. If this continues, I won't join these dinners." She was shocked, accused him of disrespect, even cried. But the next week, she didn't mention his appearance. She asked about his kids instead. That's the power of a boundary. It doesn't always end relationships. Sometimes it reshapes them into something real. Boundaries aren't walls, they're locked doors, opened only to those who respect you. A Stoic knows you can't control others, but you can control who enters your space. Stoicism teaches you to act with intention, not emotion. You don't yell, beg, or plot revenge. You set boundaries with quiet resolve. You close the door, turn the key, and walk away with dignity. Peace isn't silence in the face of disrespect. It's choosing who gets to share your space. Practical boundaries protect your mental strength. They sound like this: if you raise your voice, I'll end the conversation. If you're consistently late, I'll stop waiting. If you disrespect me publicly, I won't pretend it's fine. These aren't threats, they're statements of what you'll accept. You're not punishing them, you're defining your standards. Those who truly care will adjust. Those who exploit you will resist. And if you fear losing them, ask yourself, is it loss or relief disguised as grief? A real connection doesn't demand you shrink yourself. It thrives on mutual respect. Fear and guilt are real, but your inner voice must be louder. I won't abandon myself to keep others comfortable. No one should treat you carelessly and still hold a place in your life. Setting boundaries isn't cold. It's reclaiming your peace with unwavering resolve. You're not harsh for valuing your worth. You're not cold for guarding your peace. You're not broken for saying, enough. Boundaries aren't rejection, they're protection. Self-respect in action. The truest act of strength is choosing yourself, refusing to erode under someone else's chaos. We all want to believe in people's better nature, to offer second chances, to think love can fix them. But Stoicism reveals a hard truth. There's a fine line between support and enabling, between compassion and complicity. Too often, what we call understanding is just fear, fear of conflict or loss. You forgive, you justify, you endure pain and call it love, but you're shielding them from the consequences they need to face. Without those consequences, they don't grow, they don't reflect, they repeat. Why change when nothing demands it? Your silence becomes their permission. Picture this: an adult son who borrows money without repaying, forgets your birthday but expects gifts, raises his voice while you stay quiet. You tell yourself he's stressed, he'll mature, he has potential, but years pass and nothing changes. Is the problem him or your silence that allows it? What looks like love isn't always love. Compassion doesn't mean cleaning up their messes in the shadows. It's turning on the light and saying, this behavior stops, and I won't shield you from its fallout. True strength is letting them face the results of their choices, no matter how hard it feels. Setting boundaries is tough because they'll make you feel guilty. They'll accuse you of changing, cry, or say, I thought you cared. But Stoicism reminds us, love without truth is manipulation. Compassion without clarity is chaos. Enabling isn't love, it's fear disguised as kindness. Enabling costs you dearly your energy, your sleep, your dignity. You walk on eggshells, sacrifice your needs, dim your own light to keep them comfortable. Worst of all, it robs them of growth. By shielding them, you delay their reckoning, their chance to face reality and change. Ironically, the more you protect them from consequences, the more they resent you, knowing deep down they haven't truly faced life. A Stoic shows true compassion by saying, "You're free to choose, but I'm free to respond. I won't stop you from hurting yourself, but I won't let you hurt me." The strongest love isn't fixing others or erasing yourself. It's holding boundaries with a steady voice. It's truth spoken without apology. A quiet resolve that says, "I care for you, but I value myself more. I won't vanish into your chaos." That's the Stoic way, unyielding, yet compassionate. Ask yourself, if nothing changes, what will this relationship look like in 5 years? What part of you will you lose to keep someone who won't grow? Is it love or fear dressed as sacrifice? That answer is your compass, guiding you to peace through clarity, not compromise. Enabling isn't kindness, it's a slow surrender of yourself. Your duty isn't to save others from their own consequences, but to step aside and let them face reality. Sometimes, the greatest gift you can give is letting them confront themselves without your interference. Let consequences speak louder than your words ever could. Your freedom comes from choosing yourself, not waiting for their apologies. There's a moment when you stop waiting for them to understand, to change, to offer the apology that may never come. That's when everything shifts. You realize you don't need their permission to protect your peace. You don't need their validation to set boundaries or their approval to walk away. You've carried the weight of waiting long enough, hoping they'd see your pain, hoping they'd change. Now, you choose freedom. Consider Carl, a 70-year-old, kind and gentle, always offering coffee to neighbors. As his health declined, his adult son visited more, claiming to help. But soon, it became control, dictating who could visit, what Carl could say, how his money was spent, what choices he could make. Carl stayed silent for over a year, fearing conflict and losing his son. But one day, he admitted to a friend, he felt like a stranger in his own home. He hadn't set boundaries, not from weakness, but because he thought love meant enduring without question. He was wrong. Love without boundaries isn't love, it's self-erasure. Carl's story is yours. Mina, anyone's who's chosen silence over truth to avoid losing someone who was never truly there. Peace isn't something others grant. It's what you claim by standing firm in your worth. Stoicism teaches you don't need a reason to guard your peace, just the courage to stop explaining. You don't need to prove someone's toxicity or list their wrongs. Sometimes, the strongest statement is silence. A door closed, a call unanswered, a life lived without their approval. You'll feel guilt trained to believe choosing yourself is selfish, that boundaries are cruel, that peace comes only when others are content. But ask, if they never change, what must you change to find peace? That question is your guide, leading you from guilt to liberation. When you stop waiting for their change and start enforcing your boundaries, something shifts. You stop replaying arguments in your head. You stop craving closure from those who don't value you. You walk away from their chaos and embrace a life rooted in deliberate truth. You move lighter, breathe deeper, rediscover who you are without their burdens weighing you down. That's the Stoic strength returning to your core, unshaken by their distortions. You don't need their apologies, their permission, or the perfect moment, just the courage to choose peace. You don't need their apologies to move forward. You don't need their approval to set boundaries. You don't need the perfect words or moment. All you need is the Stoic courage to choose your peace, to stand firm without seeking their permission or validation. Let go of waiting for their understanding or change. Let go of chasing their approval. You've stayed too long, explained too much, given too many chances. Now you see endless kindness without boundaries is self-destruction. Forgiveness without accountability is a free pass. They may never apologize or grasp the pain they caused. They may never see the version of you that suffered in silence. That's okay. You don't need their acknowledgement to heal. You need only one thing, the resolve to stop bleeding for those who bring no healing. From this moment, stop chasing closure. You become the closure. Stop seeking peace. You protect it. Stop repeating lessons you want force consequences. Do it quietly, firmly, forever. Your life isn't a stage for their chaos. It's a sanctuary for your strength and clarity. When they ask, don't they deserve another chance? Respond like a Stoic maybe. But I deserve my peace more. If this message stirs you, it's not just a video, it's a call to draw your line. Subscribe to Think Stoic 101, where we reject noise and cultivate clarity. Share below, what boundary are you finally ready to honor? Pass this on to someone who's been strong too long. Compassion isn't weakness, but it's not a seat for chaos at your table. You've given enough now. Choose yourself, your peace, your Stoic resolve.